If you're ambitious and goal driven and got a type A personality where you always gotta be on, always be working towards something productive, then you probably struggle to relax. You probably struggle to relax how most people expect you to relax. Because when we think about relaxing, what comes to your mind? Just laying around, right? Just laying around, watching TV, this is your time off, you're chilling, or being on your phone, but having time to just do things that don't really matter. But what happens when you do those things? Like, what happens when you get on the game? What happens when you go on your phone? What happens when you sit down and watch TV and relax? You have that guilty voice in your head saying, this is what you're doing right now? You could be doing so much better. And so, you can't really relax doing that stuff. At least I can't. Like, that's the story of my life. If I sat down right now, and I know this isn't like, I guess this isn't healthy, but I feel like there's a strict divide between people who can do that stuff and people who can't. And I'm in that camp where I just cannot sit down and watch TV and just scroll on my phone and just play the game all the time if I'm doing it by myself without feeling guilty. Now, if I'm with friends and we're bonding and this is an experience to bond with them, I can do that stuff and not feel guilty because I know I'm investing time, quality time with my family, and that's important to me. But if I'm just doing that stuff on my own to relax, I'm not going to be relaxed because I'm going to feel guilty. And chances are you feel the same way. I'm here to say that that's completely normal. Like, we cannot listen to the people who always say, no, man, that's so strange. You shouldn't be, just do it. Like, forget that guiltiness because you got to take time off. Because obviously, if we could just get rid of that guilty voice in our head, we would. But we can't. So, there are different ways that I can relax and you can relax that doesn't involve you just sitting around, doing nothing, just staring off the distance, and not having to be on your phone, watch TV, all that stuff. And we're going to get into that in this video. But before we get into that, who am I? My name is Faith, and my goal is to help entrepreneurs, creators, and high achievers reach their goals by teaching you how to take action, stay consistent, and make goals happen. And if you watch this far into the video, you might as well go ahead and click that subscribe button because I do make videos like this every single day for you. Alright? Now, back to the topic at hand. How can you relax productively? There's 3 ways you can relax that I want to dive into, and you can incorporate into your life that will help you relax, like actually relax, because relaxing is important, especially for people like us, for high achievers like us. It is important. We take a step away from the constant grind, the constant working to relax. I'm not saying you don't need to relax. This is a necessity, okay? There's just a different way that we have to relax. We can't relax like the normal group of people who just can chill around and not feel that voice. We gotta do something differently. So there's 3 ways we can relax. Alright, the first one is do hobbies. Hobbies are a great way to relax without having to feel that guilty voice that you're wasting your time, because with hobbies, you're doing something that engages your mind, because you're an idle mind. And what happens with this relaxing stuff, like when you're on your phone, your mind is more idle. You might not think it is, but it's kind of idle. And that's when you can hear that voice, and negative voice like, what are you doing? Some people, though, their mind doesn't get idle, and that phone just silences their mind. But people like us, when we're on the phone, that's when our mind is like idle, and once it's idle, that's when that voice is going to come in and say, oh my god, this is just not it. But when you're doing a hobby, it doesn't give your mind time to get idle, because you're going to be focused on the hobby that you're doing. For instance, if you're reading, your mind is focused on that. You're not going to hear that voice saying, what are you doing? You're wasting time. Because at the same time, you're going to be feeling productive reading, but reading in itself is inherently relaxing. You feel me? You can actually do puzzles. That's not a hobby. You could you could do juggle, there's so many different things you can do as a hobby that will not make your mind idle. It will focus it, so you won't have to hear that guilty voice, and you'll be feeling productive because you'll be doing something instead of just laying around and wasting your time watching TV. You'll actually be doing something and relaxing. So look into your hobbies. For me, I like to read when I'm relaxing. I like to do puzzles. I like to juggle. I'm pretty sure you kind of guessed since I said juggling earlier. And I like to write. And so those things I do when I want to relax doing a hobby. Now, obviously, I don't do it all the time because there's 2 other ways you can relax. And the second way is through movement. Movement is a keystone in relaxation. You wouldn't think so, because if you want to relax, you're supposed to just lay around, right? Not for most people, not for you and I. So movement in any form can be relaxing. For instance, I will go for a long walk. If I had a long day and I'm stressed out, I will go for a walk, because walking, that movement is so relaxing to me. You won't think it's relaxing, but it's so relaxing. You just get outside and just walk. Another way is by walking, doing some household chores. And you would think household chores are not relaxing, but when I wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm working hard, deep work until 2 p.m. When I finish, chores, like moving around doing chores, gives me time to pull away from the work I just did instead of just laying around. Because if I lay around, I'm gonna get on my phone regardless, and that's not gonna help me. But if I finish my work and allow myself to get started on some chores, I just feel better. And maybe I'm weird about that, but that's just an example of some movement you can be doing, you know? So we said you can go walking, you can work on chores, you can go exercising, that's another form of movement, you can go dancing. Anything with movement in it is a great way to relax. And the third way to relax is to think. Just sitting around and thinking is a good way to relax. But if you're sitting around on your phone, you're not relaxing because that phone is stimulating your brain. But if you're sitting around doing absolutely nothing and just letting yourself get lost in your train of thoughts, that's a great way to relax. And that's something I do. Like, I will get on my bed and just sit there and think. And sometimes I'll get an idea to write about, and then I'll shift from thinking to doing a hobby, which is writing. But regardless, I do have time where I just sit around and think, and that's good for me. And if I get bored thinking after like 20 minutes, I'll stop and do something else. I'll do some movement or I'll do a hobby. Regardless, that is an important part that I do have in my life, so I want to make sure I brought that up. But now you have 3 categories, and it's broad, you know, hobbies, movement, and thinking. Well, thinking isn't too broad, but hobbies, movement, that's pretty broad. So you can fill those in. Think about what the hobbies you like to do. Think about what kind of movements you want to do. Think about what you want to think about. And so now when it's time for you to relax, you can just go through the list and then pick something you want to do so that you won't feel guilty for just laying around, being on your phone, wasting time, or you won't feel bored from sitting around doing nothing because you don't want to be on your phone because that's going to make you feel guilty. Now you have things you can do actively that will help you relax. Okay? So hopefully this video has helped you out. And if it has, comment and let me know. Don't be scared. Hit the like button. And remember, take action, stay consistent, because goals happen, and I'll see you later.